A very good evening to everyone. So before we start, let me just tell you that what is actually the agenda for today's session. So let me start with an anecdote. Once upon a time, there was a very poor person who used to break stones in the mountain and used to sell them in the market. And he used to work, he used to literally slog right from the dawn till dusk. But even then, he was not able to earn enough to feed his family. So as his usual normal routine, once again, he went to the market to sell his stones. But there he saw that there was a craftsman who was selling precious stones for almost $1,000. He was quite curious and he asked that from where did you get such precious stones? To which the craftsman replied, "Hare, these are the same stones that you sold me yesterday." So then he said, "I just turned them into small pieces and beautiful sculptures." So the poor person was incredibly sad. He said, "This is not fair. I have been slogging in the scorching heat for approximately 10 to 12 hours every day. And you are conveniently sitting here working for just few hours, and the amount that you are earning is 10 times more than what I earn. This is absolutely not fair. You are not even working hard." So to which the craftsman replied that the value of the product is not determined by how much effort has been spent. The value of the product is determined by how useful it is. So the moral of the story is that if hard work is a necessary condition to sail through this examination, then if that hard work is not made in the right direction, it would not be sufficient to sail through this examination. So on this note, I, Smriti Shah, Essay Faculty of Vision IAS, welcome you all to this open session, Art of Effective Essay Writing. So the objective of today's session is very simple: to enable you to put your hard work in the right direction. Everyone knows that this exam requires hard work. There is no second thought about it. But in which direction the hard work has to be put in, that's the agenda for the class. So let's do one thing. Let's make sure that next 2.5 hours is adding some value to your preparation. Take out a piece of paper and a pen. You have come for this session. You might be having certain questions in your mind as far as essay writing is concerned. Write down those questions on that piece of paper. I will make sure that in next 2.5 hours, each and every question of yours, each and every doubt of yours is resolved. Is that clear? This next 2.5 hours should not be the waste of your time. And why am I asking you to write it down? Because when you write, you actually know what you are thinking. That's a quote by Stephen King, that I write to know what I think. I'm giving you 2 minutes. Write down what you're looking for this session. Everyone, even online also. That's the job for you. Take out a piece of paper and a pen and write down what exactly is your expectation from this session. What are your doubts? You just have to jot down what are your doubts as far as essay writing is concerned. So are you able to write down something? है ना? Let's start. Let's do one thing. Let me finish the session. And if your doubts are resolved, good enough. If it isn't, then you can ask me and I'll answer those doubts. Is that clear? And as and when we proceed with the session, there would be certain things that might be coming to your mind. As of now, you cannot think of it. But as and when we will proceed, you will realize that those were the doubts that you were also thinking. Is that very clear? See, as far as this exam is concerned, we need to understand the problem is not about this essay paper. The problem is that we have a fear of essay paper. Essay in itself is not difficult at all. The problem is we are not even starting. There is so much of fear that how will we write 1200 words? And if anything less, then at least 1000 words have to be written. So now, in order to ensure that we have the confidence in this paper, first and foremost, you need to understand the significance of this paper. And why am I saying this is, the moment you realize how important this paper is, automatically you will channelize your energy in the right direction. See, can I assume that all of you have a dream to clear this examination? That is why you are sitting here. Okay? Can I assume that you know that without clearing mains, you cannot clear this examination? Can I assume that we know that without nailing essay paper, we cannot clear this examination? तो अब क्या करें? करना तो पड़ेगा, ठीक है ना? तो यही इसकी सबसे बड़ी importance है, that this paper is so important because the amount of marks that you can score. Any idea what's highest this year? Exactly. 149 has been the highest this year. There was a time when 175, 176 bhi aate the, but that was pre-philosophical essay time. So with the trend of asking the philosophical essay with too much subjectivity, the average score, which is hovering around this time, is 115 to 125. So even if you're scoring somewhere around 115 to 125, it's a decent score. This year, highest is 149. It has been secured by Gautam Vivekanandan, our classroom student. His first attempt was this, and he has secured this marks. He was our student of RB8 batch 2021, and this 2022 was his first attempt, and he has secured 149 in essay. And if he can secure, so can you. Is that very clear? Is it making sense? Okay. Second very important aspect or the significance of this paper is you don't have to study anything separately. How much energy you invest in preparing for GS paper 1? Don't even get me started. Art and culture, modern history, world history, society, post-independence, geography. But can for GS paper 1 guarantee 60% marks? Absolutely not. Anything around 110 and 115 would be the highest that you are getting in GS paper 1. And same holds true for GS paper 2 and 3 as well. This is the only paper where you have a potential to secure 60% marks, and that also no extra effort is required. And why am I saying this extra effort? Because I want to answer one query. From where will I prepare the fodder for essay? That's the first question which comes to the mind. We don't realize we are already preparing the fodder. GS paper 1, 2 and 3 give you examples for philosophical essay, and GS paper 4 gives you the argument for the philosophical essay. So you are already preparing the fodder. All that needs to be done is whatever you have prepared, you just need to filter it, that how that content can be used in essay, which I will tell you. Is that clear? So don't bother about fodder कहाँ से लाएं. अरे और कितना चाहिए तुमको? Ancient पढ़ लिया, medieval पढ़ लिया, pre-solve हो नहीं रहा, यही कर लेते हैं, यही example लगा लेते हैं. So the point here is ancient, medieval, modern. लोग पूछते हैं world history, post independence का क्या relevance है? Mains में तो आ नहीं रहा. आ रहा है भाई. ऐसे में example लिखने के बड़े काम आता है world history और post independence. You already have the fodder. Is that clear? Another important aspect which we cannot see, but then you have to realize. Have you heard about Uniform Civil Code? सबने पढ़ा है? ठीक? If the question comes on Uniform Civil Code in GS paper 1 under society, largely you will be writing answer from social perspective. How it is impacting diversity, melting pot, salad bowl, वो सब बात करेंगे. The same question can be asked in GS paper 2. There you will be answering it from the perspective of polity, DPSP, Article 44 and everything. The same question can be asked in GS paper 4. The ethical connotation, whether UCC should be implemented or not. But in every paper, there is a restriction of the context in which it has to be answered. But that kind of restriction is not there in the essay paper. If you get UCC in essay, you are exploring social, political, ethical, every dimension. Why take it as a challenge? It's an opportunity for creative expression. अब आप बोलोगे मैम क्रिएटिविटी ही तो नहीं है. The problem है कि क्रिएटिविटी है, कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है to explore the creative side of your personality. So you don't need to worry about it. All you need to do, stop fearing essay paper. ये सोचो ना यार ये फियर क्यों, क्योंकि करना तो है यार, बिना इसको किए नहीं बन सकते आईएएस. तो ये मान लो दिस इज एन अपॉर्चुनिटी एंड यू आर गोइंग टू मेक द बेस्ट पॉसिबल यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी. इज दैट क्लियर? सो ऑन दिस नोट लेट्स स्टार्ट. द फर्स्ट थिंग वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट इज द syllabus. See, this I say normally also, that whenever any section that you have to prepare, वो अपने आप ठीक हो जाएगा. Any section which you have to prepare, the first and foremost thing is go through the syllabus. और हम यही नहीं करते. कितना टाइम लग जाता है, एक आध अटेम्प्ट निकल जाते हैं, फिर जब नहीं होता तब सोचते हैं एक बार सिलेबस तो देख लें क्या रहा था. So the point here is the first thing that you are going to do is read the syllabus. And yes, definitely there is a syllabus for essay. बहुतों को तो हमें ये भी नहीं पता होता कि syllabus है essay के लिए. This is the syllabus. Very quickly go through it. The first point of the syllabus says remain as close to the topic as possible. The second says that arrange your arguments in the orderly fashion. The third point says concise presentation, and the fourth point says that reward would be given for exact and effective expression. First and foremost thing, did you realize, have they mentioned economy, polity, society, ethics, geography? No, because they are assuming कि ये तो आप पढ़ ही रहे हो. So now they are telling you this is the expectation of UPSC. Now let's try to deconstruct every topic and you will get answer for most of your questions. The first and foremost thing, they have also acknowledged the fact that in philosophical or in general essay topics, there is too much subjectivity. There can be the same topic, hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. Your interpretation can be very different from mine. Your treatment of the topic can be very different from mine. Your examples can be very different from mine. Yet both of our essays can be absolutely correct. So all they expect you is remain as close to the topic as possible. Don't digress from the main theme of the topic. अब आप बोलोगे कि मैम ये तो पता है, ये तो नहीं करेंगे. I'll tell you how it happens without we realizing. एक बार एक टॉपिक आया था, biased media is a threat to Indian democracy. लोगों ने बहुत अच्छा लिखा मीडिया पे और डेमोक्रेसी पे. थीम क्या थी? Biased media is a threat to Indian democracy. Every argument should reassert this theme ki see how biased media is a threat to Indian democracy. There were two essays going in the same. One was media, another was democracy, without realizing ki that is not the essay. Has capitalism led to inclusive growth? So what is the main theme? Has it led to inclusive growth? If yes, then how? And if not, then why? This is the theme of the essay. What we are writing is capitalism and inclusive growth. So we need to understand you don't have to digress from the main theme of the essay. और दूसरा सबसे आसान तरीका बताती हूँ, चीट कोड नहीं बोलूंगी, गलत वर्ड है, लेकिन ये वर्क करता है. साइन पोस्टिंग एक कॉन्सेप्ट होता है, समझना. मैथ्स पढ़ी है, अब तो पढ़नी ही पड़ेगी सीसैट के हालात देखकर. बट एनीवे, नहीं ठीक है. एनीवे, सो द पॉइंट हियर इज कि मैथ्स में वो LHS इज इक्वल टू RHS करते थे ना, वो लास्ट में, और कभी कभी वहीं से शुरू करते थे कि अगर नहीं भी प्रूव हुआ तो लिख देते हैं, क्या पता गलती से नंबर मिल जाए. आपने पता नहीं किया है कि नहीं, हमने तो किया. बट एनीवे, सो वो है ये, जब भी कोई आर्ग्यूमेंट लिखो और लग रहा हो कि थोड़ा सा भटक रहा है, तो जो मेन थीम ऑफ द एसे है उसी को पैराफ्रेज कर दो, उससे खुद को भी सेटिस्फैक्शन मिलेगा, फाइन वी हैव आंसर्ड द थीम, और सामने वाले को भी लगेगा अच्छा यही कहना चाह रहा था। लेकिन हर बार नहीं करना, पकड़े जाएंगे फिर, ठीक है। सो ऑल आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग टू से इज डोंट डाइग्रेस फ्रॉम द मेन थीम एंड मेक श्योर दैट एवरी नाउ एंड देन यू आर रीआइटरेटिंग द मेन थीम। उससे क्या होता है, यू आर ऑल्सो विद द टॉपिक एंड इवन एग्जामिनर ऑल्सो गेट द आइडिया दैट यू आर स्टिल विद द टॉपिक। इज दैट वेरी क्लियर फॉर एवरीवन? ठीक। नेक्स्ट कहता है अरेंज द आर्ग्यूमेंट्स इन ऑर्डरली फैशन। अब मैं आपको बताती हूं, ये बहुत सिंपल सी बातें होती है, ऑर्डर में कैसे अरेंज करें, व्हाट डज दैट एग्जैक्टली मीन। आई टेल यू समथिंग, स्टोरी टेलिंग का द बेस्ट पॉइंट इज इफ देयर इज अ नेचुरल फ्लो टू इट। What is happening with us is your essay content is not the problem. You are actually writing absolutely correct content, but your content is not structured. So the person who's reading is not able to understand what you are trying to say. Your content is all over the place. I'll give you a simple example. If I say the statement, is secularism a myth in India? Let's say this is my essay topic. I said, what is secularism in general? ठीक है. Then we talked about that how secularism talks about that sphere of politics is separated from sphere of religion. However, the nature and extent of separation depends upon the value it intends to promote. And based on that, there are different models of secularism. One of the model is Indian model of secularism. Then I spoke about what is the Indian model of secularism. Then I talked about that how it is getting asserted through my examples, and then I will be talking about that where all Indian secularism is not getting implemented, and then I will be suggesting my way forward. कहानी ऐसे ही चलती है. अब सपोज करो कि मैं पहले बता दूं इंडियन मॉडल और फिर मैं कहूं नहीं सिर्फ ये एक अकेला मॉडल नहीं है, देयर इज यूएस एंड फ्रेंच मॉडल ऑल्सो, वी हैव बोरोड फ्रॉम दैट. सो नाउ द कंटेंट रिमेन्स द सेम but the flow of the essay has been broken. So essay writing is not difficult provided you know how to structure your essay. और उसका भी एक टेक्निक होता है, ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग कहते हैं उसे, कि जो पहले 15 मिनट होते हैं वो बहुत क्रूशियल होते हैं, because in that you not only decide what dimensions you are going to discuss, you also number them that which dimension will be discussed before and which will be discussed later. ये पहले से करना होता है. एक बार लिखना शुरू कर दो फिर कोई कंफ्यूजन नहीं होना चाहिए, अदरवाइज यू विल गेट इनटू दैट सेल्फ डाउट मोड और फिर वहीं पे टाइम वेस्ट होना शुरू हो जाता है. एंड हाउ टू डू द ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग वील जस्ट डिस्कस. इज दैट वेरी क्लियर? थर्ड इज द कंसाइज प्रेजेंटेशन. आई टेल यू, यू विल अंडरस्टैंड. आपने नोट मेकिंग करी है, सबने कभी ना कभी नोट्स बनाए होंगे. Have you realized first time when you would have made the notes? मैं सबसे कॉमन एग्जाम्पल देखती हूँ, लक्ष्मीकांत. हमें लगा कि लक्ष्मीकांत के नोट्स बनाते हैं, फर्स्ट टाइम बनाए, थोड़ी देर में रियलाइज हुआ वो एग्जैक्टली कॉपी हो गई. कभी आपके साथ ऐसा हुआ है? फिर आपने जब सेकेंड टाइम नोट्स बनाए तो 2 पन्ने 3 पन्ने उसमें से कम हुए. When you made the notes third time, this time you already know what is relevant and what may not be relevant. And finally fourth time you realize कि ये सब तो लिखना ही नहीं है, अब तो याद ही है, माइंड मैप बनाओ और आगे बढ़ो. ये कंसाइज प्रेजेंटेशन मेरे बोलने से आपको नहीं आएगी. दिस विल ओनली कम विथ प्रैक्टिस. लोग बोलते हैं एनेक्डोट लिखना बहुत मुश्किल है. एनेक्डोट लिखना सबसे आसान होता है. करना ही क्या है, 2 कैरेक्टर ही तो इंट्रोड्यूस करने हैं. सीता गीता, प्रिया नीतू, राम श्याम, जैसे एनसीईआरटी में स्टोरी टेलिंग होती है, कोई भी 2 कैरेक्टर उठाओ और बना दो कहानी. सबको मुद्दे पता है. I'll give you the easiest example. एक टॉपिक आया था that fulfillment of new women in India is a myth, and that year the topper secured 175. So she started her essay that there was a girl, Priya, and she got access to education, skill development, she was convent educated, working in MNC. So people thought that this is what an empowered woman looks like. However, she did not have the freedom to spend the money that she was earning. So now the question is, to what extent the concept of new women in India has been fulfilled? कितनी मुश्किल थी ये कहानी? क्या आपको पता नहीं है कि विमेन के पास फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंस नहीं है? ये तो पहली चीज है जो हम पढ़ते हैं. आपने यहाँ पे फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंस न डाल के सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट डाल दिया होता वर्क प्लेस पे. आपने डुअल बर्डन डाल दिया होता, ग्लास सीलिंग डाल दी होती, पिंक कॉलर डाल दिया होता, कुछ भी डाल देते। कहानी आपकी है, मुद्दे आपको पता है, एक कैरेक्टर इंट्रोड्यूस करिए। एग्रीकल्चर पे ऐसे आ जाए, करतार सिंह को इंट्रोड्यूस कर दीजिए। करतार सिंह एक दिन बैठे थे चारपाई पे, ही वाज सिटिंग ऑन हिज चारपाई वेटिंग फॉर अ ट्रेन, एंड दैट ट्रेन वाज अ कैंसर एक्सप्रेस. That is nothing but highlighting the health component of green revolution. That how overusage of pesticides and all, it resulted into hampering the health of the people, resulting into high incidences of cancer. मुद्दा सबको पता है, बस करतार सिंह को डालते ही वो एनेक्डोट बन गया. This is how anecdote writing is done. But the problem is not anecdote writing. Problem is your anecdotes are not crisp. स्टोरी लिखने बैठते हैं, 2 पन्ने निकल जाते हैं, वो सिर्फ प्रैक्टिस से आएगा. देयर इज नो ऑल्टरनेटिव टू दैट. यू स्टार्ट राइटिंग, फर्स्ट टाइम यू विल राइट अ वेरी डिटेल्ड एनेक्डोट. नेक्स्ट टाइम जब खुद पढ़ोगे उसी में रियलाइज हो जाएगा, यार ये 4 लाइनों की जरूरत नहीं थी. स्लोली एंड ग्रेजुअली यू विल रियलाइज कि दिस मच ओनली इज रिक्वायर्ड टू कन्वे माई मैसेज टू द एग्जामिनर एंड योर प्रेजेंटेशन विल बिकम कंसाइज. दैट्स माई गारंटी. Is that making sense for everyone? But there is no substitute to practice. Next. This I really appreciate about UPSC. They are telling you what they are going to reward. And there are 2 words that they have used. Exact and effective. बहुत clear है. Exact का मतलब होता है सटीक. सटीक मतलब your contextual understanding of the topic cannot be wrong. You need to understand. I'll tell you. ये थोड़ा सा fearful है, लेकिन डरेंगे नहीं. What I mean is that interpretation of the topic cannot go wrong. You cannot interpret it altogether in a different manner. उसका एक सिंपल सा रीजन है. If you have a doubt with respect to interpretation of the topic, don't attempt that topic. Please don't attempt. क्योंकि अगर खुद को नहीं कन्विंस कर पा रहे हो तो पढ़ने वाले को कैसे कन्विंस करोगे that this is what is my viewpoint. So exact expression का मतलब होता है contextually your essay needs to be correct. Is this very clear? And effective का मतलब होता है content needs to be rich. So now next 1 hour we are going to talk. Let me just tell you what's the agenda. Next 1 hour we'll focus on exact and effective expression. How you are going to ensure exact and effective expression. After that we are going to discuss the script 1 of Gautam, who has secured 149, and second we'll also see the script of rank 1. She has also secured 137. So it's a decent score. So through those scripts we'll try to understand that if they can write the essay, so can we. That's the agenda for the class. And the motive would be to focus on philosophical essays. Okay? There are few important questions which I need to answer and which I will answer through these terms. Without any doubt in mind, essay is a test of knowledge. You must be wondering, मैम इसमें कौन सी रॉकेट साइंस है? ये तो हमें भी पता है, हमें नहीं पता. मैं बताती हूँ कैसे. जब कोई टॉपिक आता है and you think that you know an anecdote related to that topic, you know a poem related to that topic, you know 2 examples related to that topic, you know a quotation related to that topic, you think I know the topic and you start writing on it. कभी हुआ ऐसा? है ना? एनेक्डोट आता है, बस क्या ऐसे की शुरुआत होगी. आई विल राइट दिस फिनोमिनल एनेक्डोट एंड देयर इज आई विल सिक्योर द हाईएस्ट. डू यू रियलाइज विद दैट एनेक्डोट इट्स एक्सप्लेनेशन एट मैक्स यू कैन रीच अप टू 400-500 वर्ड्स. व्हाट आफ्टर दैट? Then in that situation either you will digress from the topic or you will end up repeating the same content that you have already written, and as a result you will not be fetching marks. So in simple words, if you do not have content, do not attempt the topic. तो पहला doubt जो लोग पूछते हैं, how to choose the topic? Simple. If you have the content, then choose the topic. Now the question is, what do we mean by having the content? So this I was supposed to discuss later, but let me tell you right now. There are 4 things that you have to remember as far as philosophical essay is concerned. Interpretation, explanation, examples and prescription. क्या आप टॉपिक को इंटरप्रेट कर पा रहे हो? आप उसका हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन वगैरह भी देख सकते हो अगर मन में कोई भी डाउट आ रहा हो. तो कैन यू इंटरप्रेट द टॉपिक? अगर तो इंटरप्रेट कर पा रहे हो तो आगे बढ़ना, वरना आगे बढ़ना ही मत, वहीं छोड़ दो उस टॉपिक को. तो फर्स्ट इज इंटरप्रिटेशन. Second is, once you have interpreted, can you explain the topic? एक्सप्लेन का मतलब होता है कि अगर कोई स्टेटमेंट दे रखा है, जैसे एक सिंपल सा एग्जांपल, विजडम फाइंड्स ट्रूथ, ये टॉपिक था. कैन आई एक्सप्लेन व्हाट इज विजडम, what can be different manifestations of wisdom, how wisdom can be different from knowledge, how ultimately wisdom enables us to find the truth. Can I explain this topic? Is that very clear? And while explaining, do I have examples from at least 6 to 7 sphere to justify my explanation? Only then proceed with the topic, otherwise not. Is that very clear? So having an anecdote, quotation or poem doesn't constitute content. It's an extra thing. It's like an icing on the cake. पहले केक तो बनाओ, icing करके क्या करेंगे? So the point here is interpretation, explanation, examples and prescription. And I'll discuss it later in detail. But if you don't have these 4 things related to essay, do not proceed. It's a heartfelt request. Clear है सबको? दूसरा सबसे बड़ा कंफ्यूजन, आपको 2 एसेज लिखने हैं. यू कैन नॉट अफोर्ड टू रिपीट योर पॉइंट्स. सो मेक श्योर बोथ द टॉपिक्स आर इन स्टार्क कॉन्ट्रास्ट और आर डिफरेंट फ्रॉम ईच अदर. Otherwise, knowingly, unknowingly, you will end up repeating your examples or arguments. And that is a strict no-no. Is it clear for everyone? Okay. तीसरा confusion. Should I choose something which is very different? For example, there are a lot of people who chose not to write on very conventional topics. But कितनी बड़ी irony है ना? 2016 and 17, both the year, the highest were 175 and 176 in essay. Both were secured by a female candidate. Both chose to write on women issues. इससे ज़्यादा क्लीशे कुछ हो सकता है? नहीं ना? फिर भी नंबर आए ना? So the point here is it's a test of your knowledge. It doesn't matter whether a woman is writing on women issues or a man is writing on women issues. Just that आपको कंटेंट आना चाहिए, बस बात खत्म. कभी कभी मैं स्टूडेंट से सुनती हूँ एग्जाम देने के बाद, नो मैम आई डिडंट चूज दिस टॉपिक बिकॉज आई थॉट एवरीबडी इज राइटिंग ऑन दिस टॉपिक. मैंने कहा फिर आपने क्या किया? बोलते आई चोज दिस टॉपिक, इट इज आउट ऑफ बॉक्स. आई सेड यू रियलाइजिंग यू आर गोइंग टू बी आउट ऑफ लिस्ट. यू नीड टू रियलाइज, डोंट प्ले गैम्बल, दिस इज अ बिग एग्जाम. एटलीस्ट क्या होगा, अगर बहुत ही ज्यादा रेपिटेटिव कंटेंट हो भी रहा होगा, एवरेज मार्क्स तो मिलेंगे. आउट ऑफ बॉक्स के चक्कर में आउट ऑफ लिस्ट हो गए तो. And many a times it happens that हम सोचते हैं we have written very different interpretation of the topic. और ये मेरे साथ, चलो मेंस तो छोड़ो, मेरे साथ प्री में होता था. इस बार आप लोग के साथ भी शायद हो गया होगा. पॉलिटी के क्वेश्चंस आते थे. मैं ये सोचती थी हमेशा, इस बार हुआ है वो चीज, मेरे अटेम्प्ट में हुआ था. पॉलिटी का क्वेश्चन, पॉलिटी तो यार प्लस पॉइंट होता है सभी का, एक वही सब्जेक्ट से शुरुआत होती है. पॉलिटी का क्वेश्चन पढ़ने के बाद यार ये तो बहुत सिंपल लग रहा है, ऐसे तो यूपीएससी नहीं पूछेगा, कुछ तो गड़बड़ है, देयर इज समथिंग. और एक फिर ऐसे घूम के पॉइंट आएगा और मुझे लगेगा ये किसी ने नहीं सोचा है, ये मैंने सोचा है, एंड आई विल मार्क दैट करेक्ट. और वो जब की आएगी तो पता चलेगा वो एकदम, क्योंकि इतना तो यूपीएससी ने खुद नहीं सोचा था बनाते वक्त क्वेश्चन, जितना हमने सोच लिया उसको आंसर करते वक्त. तो उतना नहीं सोचना है, ठीक है. तो फाइनेंस एंड फाइनेंशियल बिल, बट एनीवे. बट डिड यू गेट द पॉइंट व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से राइट नाउ? क्लियर है सबको? आगे बढ़ सकते, ठीक. So, with respect to choosing the topic, is the doubt clear? Next, comprehension skill. Simple सा चीज़ है यार. If I speak a language in this session which you don't understand, if I make convoluted statements, if I try to explain something to you which you're not able to understand, definitely my purpose is defeated. Same holds true for you. Whatever is your intellect level, whatever is your hard work, examiner doesn't know you. The only mode of communication between you and your examiner is your script. जितनी lucid writing होगी, आप खुद को थर्ड पर्सन की तरह देखो. मैं आपको टॉपर्स की स्क्रिप्ट दिखाऊं, आप रियलाइज करोगे इतना सिंपल राइटिंग स्किल होता है, इतना lucid होता है, पता नहीं ऐसे को इतना हवा क्यों बना रखा है. Many a times I get to listen, मैम क्या फ्लारी लैंग्वेज नहीं आती होगी? कौन सी फूल पत्ती बनानी है पेपर में? What is this फ्लारी लैंग्वेज? हमारी वोकैबुलरी थोड़ी कम है. अरे यार, इट्स अ मीडियम ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन. इफ यू आर एबल टू कम्युनिकेट योर इंटेंट टू द एग्जामिनर, यू हैव ऑलरेडी नेल्ड दिस एग्जामिनेशन. कॉम्प्रिहेंशन स्किल्स हैज टू बी परफेक्ट. एंड व्हाट आई मीन बाय दिस वर्ड परफेक्ट हियर इज इट हैज टू बी ल्यूसिड. और अगर आप पूछना चाहते हो ना, कभी कभी कोई पूछता है कि मैम हाउ कैन आई वर्क अपॉन माई राइटिंग स्किल्स, गो बैक टू योर एनसीईआरटीज. एनसीईआरटी में जैसी लैंग्वेज यूज होती है ना, उसे कहते हैं ल्यूसिड. सिंपल लैंग्वेज, सिंपल वर्ड्स, इफेक्टिव एक्सप्लेनेशन. ट्रस्ट योर एनसीईआरटीज. 11th-12th की पॉल साइंस और सोशियोलॉजी के एनसीईआरटीज पढ़ो. पॉल साइंस की एनसीईआरटीज जो इतनी ल्यूसिड वे में इतने डिफिकल्ट स्कॉलर्स भी समझा रखे हैं, दैट शोज द ब्यूटी ऑफ द राइटिंग स्किल्स. कहा जाता है ना, इफ यू कैन नॉट एक्सप्लेन समथिंग सिंपली, दैट मीन्स यू योरसेल्फ हैव नॉट अंडरस्टूड इट. So simple explanation is the key. Is that very clear for everyone? So we don't have to go for very rich vocabulary. What we have to go for is rich content. Simple. Done and dusted. Is that clear? ठीक. एक simple तरीका बता देती हूँ comprehension skills को improve करने का. ये depend करता है आपका basic क्या है. Write small sentences and write small paragraphs. अपने आप comprehension skills improve हो जाएंगे. We have this habit of not putting the full stop. ट्रस्ट मी, हम कॉमा डाल के हाउएवर, व्हेनेवर, फॉरएवर करके कभी फुल स्टॉप ही नहीं लगाते. डोंट डू दैट, इट्स वेरी अनोइंग. और कभी अगर लग रहा हो कि वट एवर आई एम सेइंग वेदर आई हैव अ प्रूफ और नॉट, गो रीड योर आंसर, गो रीड योर एसे ऑन योर ओन. आप 5 पन्नों के बाद खुद ही बंद कर दोगे. सो द पॉइंट हियर इज दैट कॉम्प्रिहेंशन स्किल्स नीड्स टू बी वेरी ल्यूसिड. क्लियर है? नेक्स्ट, कॉन्टेक्चुअल क्लैरिटी. दिस आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू. फिल्टरिंग द कंटेंट, दिस आई नीड टू वर्क. लेट्स वर्क ऑन दिस. This is very important. We'll do this at 2 stages. One is during the preparation and second is during examination. When during examination, what I mean with it is very simple. Whether to write the content, and second, if then where. Simple. Many a times you must be wondering कि whether to write the content or not, ये तो पता ही चलेगा. नहीं होता यार. I'll tell you what is the most human nature that we do. हमारी आदत होती है, whenever you prepare a new quotation, whenever you study a new example, you make it a deliberate effort to ensure that that quotation or that example or that story is written in the essay without realizing whether it is relevant or not. होता है ना? और फिर उस चीज को relevant दिखाने के लिए और 4 लाइनें लिखते हैं, ये दिखाने के लिए कि it is justified to be written here. क्यों कर रहे हो? Don't do this. Sometimes less is more. Don't write anything which is not relevant. Is that clear? And second thing, आपने कभी सोचा है that how examiner knows that what was your intention while writing the essay? We only tell him. And how examiner knows that we have committed the error? We only tell. I'll tell you how. Let us suppose I was trying to explore the essay from different dimensions: social, political, economical, ethical. Let's say this. I finished my social dimension. I finished my political dimension. And then all of a sudden I remembered कि मैं एक social dimension लिखना तो भूल गई, पर अब तो मैं लिखूंगी क्योंकि याद आ गया है. तो अब मैंने फिर से वो एग्जाम्पल डाल दिया जो मैं लिखना भूल गई थी. फ्लो ब्रेक हुआ. और एग्जामिनर को कैसे पता चला कि आप भूल गए थे और आप बाद में लिख रहे हो वो पॉइंट? आपने खुद ही बताया. अरे भूल गए थे तो भूल जाओ. हो सकता है ना एग्जामिनर ये सोचेगा कि हर चीज तो एक पेपर में नहीं लिख सकते. आपने सोशल डायमेंशन को 2 पॉइंट से एक्सप्लेन कर दिया, बात खत्म. मूव अहेड, राइट समथिंग एल्स. बट वी आर ब्रेकिंग द फ्लो जस्ट बिकॉज हमें बाद में कोई चीज याद आई. दैट्स द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग. ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग में जितने एग्जाम्पल सोचे होंगे, ट्राई टू स्टिक टू दैट. हाँ, कभी कभी होता है कि लिखते वक्त कोई अच्छी चीज याद आ जाती है तो लिख दो, बट इस तरह से फ्लो ब्रेक नहीं करोगे. इज दैट वेरी क्लियर फॉर एवरीवन? ठीक, इस पे बात कर लेते हैं. ड्यूरिंग द प्रिपरेशन कैसे तैयारी करनी है. let's assume as of now that we'll again get the philosophical essays. Philosophical essays में one thing that you have to prepare well is your GS paper 4, especially section A. That has to be on your tips. There are certain topics from GS paper 4 which are highly relevant for philosophical essay. The first topic is values. Every value, और ये मैं बता रही हूँ आप ethics के लिए already तैयार कर रहे हो. For example, you might be studying integrity. You are studying compassion. You are studying wisdom. You are studying temperance. You are studying all these things. You have to prepare them anyway for ethics paper. And how you are preparing? What is integrity? What can be different manifestation of integrity? What can be different examples of integrity? And this set of examples can be prepared either at individual level, social level, national level, international level. Similarly, it can be prepared social, political, economic, environmental, etc. And lastly, how to inculcate integrity. अब आप मुझे ये बताओ, क्या आप एथिक्स के लिए ये नहीं पढ़ रहे? तो ऑटोमेटिकली फॉर्डर तैयार हो तो रहा है ऐसे के लिए. जो आपका टॉपिक आएगा उसकी एक अंडरलाइन वैल्यू होगी ना. विजडम फाइंड्स ट्रूथ, सिंप्लिसिटी इज अल्टीमेट sophistication, life is a long journey from human being to being humane. Are you getting the point? Perception of me is reflection of you and my reaction to you is sense of my self awareness. यही सारे टॉपिक्स तो हैं. हर टॉपिक में एक अंडरलाइन वैल्यू होती है and that value anyway you are preparing in your ethics paper. So that's one topic which is extremely important both for ethics as well as essay. सब छोड़ो, 500 नंबर चल रहे हैं इस वक्त. Ethics plus essay. It's worth the investment of your time. Next thing, जो topic important है ethics का, extremely important. More than ethics paper, this is important for philosophical essays. दो reason है. या तो direct essay की theme हो सकता है. Life is a long journey from human being to being humane. Are you understanding that the underlying theme here is socialization? Are we understanding this concept? Similarly, hand that rocks the cradle, जो हाथ पालना झुलाते हैं वही आगे चल के वर्ल्ड को रूल करते हैं. Again, this is all about socialization and role of mother, father, teacher in the process of socialization. So when are we preparing socialization? You should prepare what's the concept of socialization. You should prepare what are the mechanisms of socialization. What are the agencies of socialization? Within that, family, school, media, religion, workplace, leadership. You can also prepare positive socialization as well as examples of negative socialization. और आप एनीवे एथिक्स के लिए कर रहे हो. आप सोचो, सपोज करो आप बोलोगे मैम एक ही थीम है, जरूरी तो ना हर साल आए. बिल्कुल सही बात है. इफ यू आर नॉट यूजिंग सोशलाइजेशन इन थीम, यू विल बी राइटिंग सोशलाइजेशन इन wisdom finds truth. You establish the fact. अब लास्ट में लिखोगे ना, how to develop wisdom. How will you develop wisdom? Socialization. Within that, you can talk about different agencies which can help you in developing wisdom. As simple as that. तो या तो theme आएगी, theme नहीं आती है तो you can use socialization in prescription. Now your question is, ma'am, there are 2 essays. In both the essays, you cannot write socialization. What can be the other prescription? So there is another topic which can be important from ethics, and that is emotional intelligence. So ethics and philosophical essays go hand in hand. Please don't worry about the fodder, you have the fodder. Is it making sense for everyone? But कोई गारंटी तो नहीं है कि philosophical essays ही आएंगे, तो रिस्क नहीं उठाएंगे क्योंकि कुछ भी कभी भी हो सकता है. मान के चल रहे कि philosophical ही आएंगे, बट what if issue based आ जाएं. तो एक सिंपल सी स्ट्रैटेजी होती है, ब्रॉड थीम्स उठा लो, women, poverty, globalization, inclusive growth, environmental sustainability, climate change, broad 10 themes उठा लो और उनका mind map बना लो. I'll tell you one mind map, you will understand it better. For example, topic is media. Prepare it like this. Quotes related to media, anecdotes related to media, statistics, index related to media to substantiate your argument, historical role of media, especially the print media, how it helped in mobilization of masses, concept of media, different types or manifestation of media, comparison between conventional media and social media separately तैयार करेंगे, how it acts as the fourth pillar of democracy. You will be talking about significance of media. If you are talking about significance, you will definitely talk about the issues and challenges. If you are preparing challenges, you have to prepare the way forward. Standard तरीका है यार. हाँ हाँ. हाँ. See, as far as essay practicing is concerned, even if you have not done society, it will still be fine if you have done your ethics. Because philosophical essays में, society is going to serve one purpose, that is giving you examples, right? Which anyway you prepare from your current affairs. So that should not be a problem. And examples can also be written from historical dimension, geographical dimension, political dimension, economical dimension. What is absolutely necessary for writing philosophical essay is GS paper 4. If you have not prepared GS paper 4, please don't attempt philosophical essay as of now. So at least case study fir bhi, it can be done later, but section A of ethics have to be covered. So society is important, but even if you've not done that, at least you can start with practicing essay writing. But for that, GS paper 4 is mandatory. Is this clear for everyone? Can we proceed further? See? So is this making sense? Now, you will choose broad themes. For example, one is media. You can prepare women empowerment. You can prepare health, education, poverty, capitalism, inclusive growth, environmental sustainability, climate change, tourism. These are broad topics, themes which should be prepared beforehand because we cannot take any risk. 80% your focus would be on philosophical topics, 20% you have to focus on issue-based topics. Is this clear for everyone? ठीक? Let's proceed further. अब ये बताओ fodder को arrange करना समझ आ रहा है, कैसे करेंगे? See, as far as multi-dimensionality is concerned, I'll discuss in some time. Next is writing skill, language competence and time management. Let's try to take this next. If this is my script, This is how it looks like. This is my page. Make sure that you are at least writing 2 to 3 paragraphs on one page. You must be wondering that what is the rocket science here? I can assure, I can guarantee, go back, visit your answers. You will realize you don't have a habit of changing the paragraph. Once you start writing, you keep on continuing with that paragraph. And when that happens, the person doesn't feel like reading it. So whether it is GS, whether it is essay writing, make sure that your paragraphs are small. And write at least 2 to 3 paras on one page. This is absolutely important. Clear hai? Okay? Second important thing is that in every para, make sure that there are 2 to 3 statements that you are writing. That is what I said in the beginning as well, that you have to write small statements. If you are going to write long statements, the attention of the examiner would be snapped, and that's not what we want. So write at least 2 to 3 paras, and in every para, try to write 2 to 3 statements. At least 2 statements to ho, minimum, make sure that. One thing with guarantee I can say, no bullet points. Absolutely no. You will never write bullet points. Even if someone says that we can write, but no, we are not going to write bullet points. Second doubt, can we make diagrams in essay? To be very honest, we should not. And especially the nature of the topic is philosophical, there is no scope for diagrams. So diagrams, flowcharts should be avoided in essay writing because that is not in sync with the demand of this paper. There have been students who have made diagrams, but when I asked them, so in the main examination, they have not made the diagrams. So let's not take the risk. To be on the safer side, we will not be making the diagrams. Is that clear? Next important aspect about writing skill is that you have to highlight the important points that you are writing in the essay. हमें लगता है ये तो सिंपल सी चीज़ है, बट ये सिंपल चीज़ हम करते नहीं हैं. उसका रीज़न है हमारे पास टाइम ही नहीं होता. वी हैव दिस हैबिट, एक बार ऐसे कंप्लीट कर लेते हैं, जब रिवाइज करेंगे तो इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट वो रिविजन कभी होता ही नहीं है. So it is very important you develop this habit while writing your mocks that you have to highlight the important points. And if not highlighting, at least make the boxes. Or you can make use of 2 color pens, blue and black, which is a very daunting task because changing the pen also takes a lot of time. So if you have practiced that strategy, good for you. In case not, don't try it in the examination. Is it making sense? Next important aspect, no abbreviations without development. ना सोचो ना यार, करेक्ट करने वाला 60-65 साल का आदमी, उसको समझ ही नहीं आ रहा तुमने क्या लिखा है. So use the language which the other person can understand. And it's UPSC examination. The tone, the presentation needs to be as formal as possible. If you're quoting someone, write honorable leaders, honorable minister, honorable prime minister. You have to keep the tone of your essay as formal as possible. Is it making sense? No abbreviations. ठीक है. दूसरी बात है, जब प्रैक्टिस भी करोगे ना, तो कभी ऐसे प्रैक्टिस मत करना. प्रैक्टिस कह रही हूं, उसका रीजन है, एग्जाम में जब जाओगे ना, डेवलपमेंट की स्पेलिंग ही याद नहीं आ रही होगी, क्योंकि पूरे साल 2 साल हमने डेवलपमेंट को कैसे लिखा. अब इसके बाद ई लगेगा नहीं लगेगा, कहां लगेगा, इसी में कंफ्यूजन हो जाएगा. और ये बेसिक स्पेलिंग एरर्स हैं, ये नहीं होने चाहिए. The basic rule of good script is no grammatical mistakes and no spelling mistakes. Grammatical mistake तो ये है कि ग्रामर के रूल सबको पता नहीं है, तो पता भी नहीं चलता, अगर मिस्टेक हो गई तो बात खत्म. बट एटलीस्ट स्पेलिंग एरर्स नहीं होने चाहिए. इट गिव्स अ वेरी बैड इंप्रेशन. इज दैट वेरी क्लियर? ठीक है. सो बेसिक राइटिंग के डाउट्स क्लियर हो रहे हैं क्या है? ठीक. नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट इज टाइम मैनेजमेंट. कुछ भी नहीं करना. No diagram, no graphs, nothing. Why am I saying this is, let's not take the risk. It's not GS writing, it is essay राइटिंग। क्लियर है? ठीक। नेक्स्ट, टाइम मैनेजमेंट की अगर हम बात करें, सी यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड इट्स योर स्किल, योर पेपर, यू नीड टू डेवलप द नैक ऑफ टाइम मैनेजमेंट। मैं बोलूं 5 मिनट में टॉपिक चूज कर लो, 15 मिनट में ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग कर लो, 60 मिनट में ऐसे लिख लो, 10 मिनट में रिवाइज कर लेना। क्या पता 5 मिनट में टॉपिक चूज ही ना हो, क्या पता पेपर प्रीलिम्स जैसा आ जाए, एक्सपेक्टेड ना हो। 10 मिनट तो यूपीएससी को कोसेंगे पहले, ये क्या कर दिया, हमारी जिंदगी खराब कर दी, ये वो 10 मिनट तो उसी में चले गए, फिर टॉपिक कब चूज करा। So time management has to be learned at your end. Is that very clear? And that would only come when you are practicing 2 essays at a time. Abhi normally practice kar lo. The time the mains are approaching, the year you are writing your mains. So before that, start practicing 2 essays at one time. नहीं तो क्या होगा, if you are practicing 1 essay, you will not develop that skill of writing 2 essays at one time. So before the year you're writing your mains, you have to practice the skill of writing 2 essays at one time. Is that very clear for everyone? Can I proceed now? Okay. Next, let's try to understand how we are going to organize our essay. I was thinking that should I emphasize on these points? So under these points, there are 3 things which I really want to emphasize: original, analytical, and well organized. And why am I saying this is, there are a lot of people who ask me, is there a book for essay? वो आप भी पूछोगे थोड़ी देर में कि किस बुक से ऐसे तैयार कर ले। वो मार्केट में आती है ना 50 मॉडल एसेज, 100 मॉडल एसेज, उनको पढ़ ले हो जाएगा। तो ओरिजिनलिटी कहाँ जाएगी? आपको समझने की जरूरत है फिलोसॉफिकल ऐसे क्यों पूछ रहे हैं, बिकॉज दे वॉन्ट टू सी वेदर यू हैव एन ओरिजिनल इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ द टॉपिक और नॉट। एंड ट्रस्ट मी, ओरिजिनलिटी इज नॉट अ चैलेंज, इट कैन बी डन बाय एनीवन। क्या करना है, आप उस ऐसे को एनेक्डोट से शुरू करो, कोई और होगा पोयम से इंटरप्रेट करेगा, कोई और होगा जो करंट इवेंट से लिंक करेगा, सबके अपने तरीके होंगे, लेकिन एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम योर ऐसे वुड बी ओन्ड बाय यू। Trust me, it has to be original. You can take inspiration from the topper script, but never have the habit of imitating those scripts. Because the more you try to imitate, UPSC will play a game. UPSC will give you topics for which you were never prepared. And I'm saying this here in itself, I cannot predict philosophical topics. And neither I have any intention of doing that. थीम बेस तो मैं फिर भी कर सकती थी, फिलोसॉफिकल में तो वो कुछ भी कोटेशन पूछ लेते हैं और आप उसको प्रिडिक्ट नहीं कर सकते। तो कितना भी आपने किसी को इमिटेट किया हो, इफ यू डू नॉट ओन योर एसे राइटिंग, इफ यू हैव नॉट डेवलप्ड द स्किल, यू वुड नॉट बी एबल टू राइट एसे इन द मेंस एग्जामिनेशन। इज दैट वेरी क्लियर फॉर एवरीवन? ठीक। सो 1, लर्न टू बी ओरिजिनल, एंड सेकेंड इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दैट इज एनालिटिकल। What I mean by analytical is, whatever essay you choose to write, first, it needs to have an argument, and second, it needs to have substantiation. The point here is, it looks so easy when you see, but this is the mistake that we commit. If you only write arguments without any substantiation, your argument has no relevance. Nobody knows you. How will you justify, how will you convince the examiner that what you have written is right? Because you have not substantiated. And what I mean by substantiation is, कोई example दे सकते हो, कोई case study दे सकते हो, कोई स्कॉलरली पर्सपेक्टिव दे सकते हो, कोई मूवी का रेफरेंस दे सकते हो, कोई लिटरेचर का रेफरेंस दे सकते हो, कोई डेटा दे सकते हो, स्टैटिस्टिक्स दे सकते हो, कुछ भी हो सकता है सब्सटेंशिएशन। लेकिन किस चीज को सब्सटेंशिएट कर रहे हो? पहले आर्ग्यूमेंट तो दो। हम क्या करते हैं, एक के बाद एग्जाम्पल्स लिखना ऐसे में शुरू कर देते हैं, स्पेशली फिलोसॉफिकल एसेज, विदाउट फ्रेमिंग द आर्ग्यूमेंट। So argument without substantiation has no relevance, and only substantiation without argument is meaningless. किस चीज का substantiation? पहले argument तो दो। So analytical essay, you need to understand, essay is not collection of data. Essay is not collection of quotes. Essay is not collection of examples. Essay is discussion. Discussion on what? The topic. And how you are discussing the topic? Through arguments and examples. Is it making sense for everyone? See? Next, let's talk about the introduction, body and conclusion. एक सिंपल सी बात है, this thing remains the same whether it is philosophical essay or it is the issue based essay. The three basic interpretation of introduction, body and conclusion does not change. Very quickly read what I have written. Introduction, tell them what you are going to tell them. Body, tell them. And what is conclusion? Based on what you have told them, provide a futuristic vision. Simple. Is that clear? Now, what I mean when I'm saying tell them what you are going to tell them, I have drawn an analogy and which I always believe in, that introduction is like a trailer of the movie. आदि पुरुष के बारे में सुना मूवी? उसका टीजर आया था, लोगों ने क्रिटिसाइज किया, फिर ट्रेलर बना, लोगों ने तारीफ करी. Can you see the difference? This is how it functions. That actually how good your introduction is will decide whether examiner is further proceeding with your essay or not. So well begin is half done. So introduction is like a trailer. So what I mean when I say the trailer, you have to tell the examiner what he can expect in your essay without revealing everything, and make it as captivating as possible. Simple. Body, whatever you were planning to tell, you tell that. Conclusion, based on what you have told, provide a prescription. As simple as that. Let's very quickly talk about the. हमें लगता है anecdote, quotation, poem is the introduction. वो introduction नहीं होता. वो सिर्फ तरीका है to make your introduction captivating and interesting. So introduction basically has to have three things. One, it should be relevant to the topic. Second, it should tell the examiner your interpretation of the topic. And third, it has to be captivating and interesting. This is how a good introduction looks like. Is that clear? See? Let me tell you that how we are going to proceed with the introduction part. Different ways of introducing. You think you cannot write anecdote? Absolutely no issues. There are other ways also introducing the content. And I'll give you examples. You will understand. First and foremost, let me answer few basic questions. Starting with a quotation. First and foremost, it's a request. Don't start a philosophical essay with a quote. फिर confusion ये हो जाएगा, ऊपर का quote answer कर रहे हो या नीचे का quotation. So it's a request that do not start a philosophical essay with another quotation. But that does not mean you cannot use quotation in your essays. You can end the essay with a quote. You can use the quotation in between your essays. So in all, 2 to 3 quotations can easily be used in essay writing. Second confusion that we have, do we need to explain the quote? Yes, if it is not self-explanatory. Then in one line you have to explain the meaning of the quote. Third thing, what if I don't know the name of the person who has given the quote? फिर क्या ही कर सकते हैं? मत लिखो नाम. Quote लिख दो, नाम मत लिखो, but don't bluff. So good thing would be you know the name of the person. But in case you don't know, absolutely no issues, leave it. Don't write anything, but don't bluff. Otherwise, what if they cross-check? Then it will backfire. Okay? But do write the quotation if you have some relevant quotation. Is that clear? Now you need to tell me, is there any question related to quotation? Can I proceed to the next part? Second, anecdote writing. It's the most effective way of introducing philosophical essays. The only thing is, there are 2 types of anecdote, real life anecdote and fictional. Fictional I have already discussed with you, but one piece of advice, that it's just an advice, you can differ from that. Start philosophical essay always with a real life anecdote. पूछो क्यों? Real life होगा ना, तो by chance हो सकता है you are not able to explain your intent to the examiner. but examiner already knows the story with which or regarding what you are talking about. He would be able to relate, अच्छा इस context में ये लिखा है. और दूसरी चीज होती है कि ऑटोमेटिकली क्रिस्प हो जाता है अगर रियल लाइफ एनेक्डोट होता है. फिक्शनल एनेक्डोट्स में देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी दैट यू विल क्रॉस द वर्ड लिमिट. Is it clear? So in philosophical topics, already interpretation is a challenge. Let's stick to real life anecdotes. Clear है? ठीक? Next, deconstruction of the topic. Deconstruction का मतलब होता है, जैसे अभी हमने बात करी, life is a long journey from human being to being humane. What is life? What do you mean by human being? What is being humane? What is the manifestation? इसको कहते हैं deconstruction. One piece of advice. Do not start the philosophical essay with deconstruction. पूछो क्यों? वो तो वैसे ही बॉडी में करना है. फिर बॉडी में क्या लिखेंगे अगर इंट्रोडक्शन में ही deconstruct कर दिया तो? So deconstruction of the topic, especially in context of philosophical essays, has to be done in the body. Please do not start the essay with deconstruction. Is that clear? Next, premise based on which the topic is being asked. That would be done if you don't have any other option. Premise का मतलब होता है relevance, कि क्यों वो topic पूछा है. For example, let us suppose history does not repeat itself, but it often rhymes. एक मिनट सोचो. History does not repeat itself, but it often rhymes. ठीक है. Can I start the essay that in the context of the recent pandemic COVID-19, we could have drawn the analogy from the experiences of Spanish flu of 1918? That although maybe the incidences are not the exact replica, but it is still rhyming, given the extent of the catastrophe it has caused at the global level. Did you understand what I mean while I'm talking about premise? Is it making sense for everyone? Next, again, reports, news, statistics, again this can be used to introduce the philosophical essays as well. If there is any index, any news, media पे आ जाए, press freedom index को use करके start कर सकते हैं. Are you getting the point? ठीक है. So this is how it can be done. For example, wisdom पे topic है, integrity पे topic है. You have read about some IAS officer, some political leader who is known for his integrity. That can be given a reference to. Why always historical example? Why not current examples? So this is nothing but report current news or statistics. Is it making sense? Next, posing questions. This posing question, hold onto this for some time. I'll tell you how to use this posing questions. ठीक है, इसको रोकते हैं अभी. Paradox and conversation. ये बहुत interesting तरीका होता है, ये मैं भी बता भी दूंगी. Conversation का मतलब समझते हैं, having an interaction. ठीक है. So I still remember there was a time that dreams which did not let India sleep. So there was a student who talked about that how he started the essay with a conversation. And the conversation is happening between a girl whose name was Bharat. Can you trace the analogy? So Bharat was sleeping one night and in her dreams, who she saw was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. So then she asked, what do you want? He said, I want to see India of my dreams. So then she asked, what do you mean by India of your dreams? So whichever topic you wanted to address, where there is harmony, cohesion, cooperation, diversity, unity in diversity. Then she asked, why are you not able to achieve India of your dreams? Because there is intolerance, communalism, regionalism, conflict. So then she asked, when will you achieve India of your dreams? So to which he replied, when youth like you will rise awake and stop not till the goals are achieved. Did you understand? But conversation यहीं खत्म हो जाना चाहिए. ऐसे है, स्क्रिप्ट नहीं है कि आप दो कैरेक्टर्स के बीच में 4 पन्नों तक कॉन्वर्सेशन ही लिख रहे हो. कभी कभी चीज कम होती है ना तो उसका इंपैक्ट अच्छा होता है. बहुत लंबी खिंच जाएगी तो बोरिंग हो जाएगी. मैक्सिमम 4 कॉन्वर्सेशंस, नॉट बियॉन्ड दैट. ट्राई अप्लाइंग दिस, दिस कैन वर्क फॉर यू. बहुत अच्छा तरीका है. किसी पे टॉपिक आ जाए, इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस वगैरह पे, लॉर्ड कृष्णा और अर्जुन के बीच का कॉन्वर्सेशन से स्टार्ट कर दो. This is the easy way of initiating and a very impactful way of doing it. Is that clear? Next is paradox. ये बड़े मजेदार होता है और ये मैं दिखाऊंगी अभी टॉपर्स की स्क्रिप्ट के थ्रू भी कि कैसे काम करता है. Paradox, let me give you an example. Loyalty समझते हैं? ठीक? Everybody understands? If I give you a topic, healthy loyalty. healthy loyalty is not passive and complacent. It is active and critical. 2 minutes सोचो. Healthy loyalty is not passive and complacent. It is active and critical. मतलब if I am being loyal to someone, that does not mean that I have to be complacent. I have to be passive. I cannot be vocal about my thoughts. In fact, a good loyalty is where you is actively vocal about your thoughts. You are critical about the person because you want the other person to grow. अब यहाँ पे paradox दे सकते हैं. The first example, the role of Karna in the life of Duryodhan, where the loyalty was passive and complacent. On the other hand, the role of Lord Krishna in the life of Arjun, where the friendship was more active and critical. क्या किया हमने दोनों? Paradox. Did you get the point? Paradox निकालना है. अगर integrity पे टॉपिक आ जाए, आपने डॉक्टर APJ अब्दुल कलाम सुना है, ठीक? Comparison with Dr. AQ Khan. Both were the nuclear project director of their respective nations. One was a man of integrity, whereas other person has sold the codes to the Western nation, Dr. AQ Khan. क्या किया हमने? Paradox. This is how paradox is done, and it is a very interesting way of initiating the essay. There are so many ways, you just need to practice. Is it making sense for everyone? ठीक. अब यहाँ पर 1 मिनट रुकेंगे. I just need to divide my introduction so that you get an idea here itself. Introduction usually have 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. Introduction always has 3 parts. The first part is your anecdote, poem, data, whatever way, conversation, paradox, जो भी आपने चुना है to initiate. That is only the first part of your introduction. The second part is linking the first part with the theme of essay. Relevance भी तो बताओ कि फर्स्ट पार्ट लिखा क्यों है. लिंक भी तो करेंगे ना एनेक्डोट लिखने के बाद. अगर मैंने आपको कर्ण और दुर्योधन और दूसरी तरफ लॉर्ड कृष्णा एंड अर्जुन की स्टोरी बताई तो फिर मैं लिखूंगी भी तो दैट इन फर्स्ट सिनेरियो द लॉयल्टी इज मोर पैसिव एंड complacent, which led to the downfall of Duryodhan. Whereas on the other hand, the loyalty was active and critical, which resulted into victory of Pandav in Kurukshetra. So that second part is extremely important because you are linking the first part with the theme. You are making your anecdote or the beginning relevant to the topic. And third part, मैंने कहा था ना, hold your thoughts. In third part, either through posing questions or through telling the dimensions, we can tell examiner what they can expect. So we are exactly telling the examiner what they can expect by introducing the third component. But third component is optional. ये मैं क्यों बताती हूँ, उसका रीजन है. थर्ड कंपोनेंट उनके लिए होता है जो फर्स्ट टाइम ऐसे राइटिंग कर रहे हैं, तो उन्हें खुद भी कंफ्यूजन ना हो, वो एग्जामिनर को भी क्लियरली बता सकें कि दिस इज माय एजेंडा. दैट्स वन थिंग. सेकेंड थिंग, थर्ड पार्ट उनके लिए होता है जिनको फ्लो मेंटेन करने में दिक्कत आती है. सो दिस इज एक्टिंग एज अ लिंकिंग पैराग्राफ बिटवीन योर इंट्रोडक्शन एंड body. That's the second thing. Third thing is, it is absolutely optional. You can directly start with body, which is nothing but deconstruction of the topic. So it is optional, but first 2 components are mandatory. It has to be there in the essay. The third aspect of the introduction is optional depending upon, and I can show the toppers have used it, sometimes toppers have not used, both have secured marks. Now you have to define what is your strength. If you are comfortable, go ahead with it. If you are not, then leave it. Is it making sense for everyone? Hanji. नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता. एटलीस्ट ये क्लैरिटी आ जाती है एग्जामिनर को भी दैट यू हैव अंडरस्टूड द डिमांड ऑफ द टॉपिक, और खुद को भी क्लैरिटी आ जाती है दैट हाउ वी हैव टू इवॉल्व आवर एसे. इज दैट क्लियर? और हम हर चीज रिवील नहीं करते, हम सिर्फ वो ब्रॉड 3-4 डायमेंशंस रिवील करते हैं. उसके अंदर क्या कंटेंट रखेंगे वो तो क्यूरोसिटी जनरेट करेगा ही ना. दैट इज द पॉइंट. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द बॉडी हियर. We have used a term that under body we have to make our essay as multi-dimensional as possible. Simple rule of philosophical essay. If this is the body of the essay, the first component would be the explanation and second component would be the examples. It's a set rule of any philosophical topic. Explain करो और explanation को justify करो through examples. अब explain कैसे करना है ये आप पे depend करता है. जैसे कि एक simple सा topic है that life is a long journey from human being to being humane. I wanted to discuss this topic. Okay, I'm giving you 5 minutes. Let's do this. Write down, life is a long journey. Life is a long journey from human being to being humane. You're reading the topic, you're watching the topic for the first time. What are the broad questions that you can think of? What are the dimensions that you can think of? जैसे ही आप टॉपिक को देखते हो, क्या क्वेश्चंस आपके दिमाग में आ रहा है? ये मत सोचो ऐसे राइटिंग कर रहे हो. टॉपिक को देखकर क्या क्वेश्चन दिमाग में आ रहे हैं? नहीं, क्वेश्चंस क्या दिमाग में आ रहे हैं? फॉरगेट अबाउट एथिक्स कुछ नहीं पढ़ा अभी हमने. Fine. That how it is a journey. We are moving from one point to another. So can I say why long journey? That can be one of the point which can come into my mind. ठीक है. What is the interpretation of life here? What do we even mean by human being? What do you interpret from being humane? What are the characteristics of a person? Do you agree that by virtue of being born in this species, we all are human beings? इतना तो सबको, हाँ? पर कोई गारंटी नहीं है ना कि हम सब बीइंग ह्यूमेन हैं, क्योंकि बीइंग ह्यूमेन के लिए कंपैशनेट, एम्पैथी, इंटेग्रिटी, लव, वार्मथ, काइंडनेस ये सब होनी चाहिए. ठीक है, एज सिंपल. तो ये मानते हैं कि इस टॉपिक में कह रहा है एवरीवन इज बोर्न अ ह्यूमन बट देयर इज नो गारंटी दैट दे विल बी ह्यूमेन. डिड यू गेट द पॉइंट? So how human being can be transformed into being humane? Socialization. Why are they not being able to transform? Because there is negative socialization. Which agencies are responsible for it? Family, education, media, religion. What needs to be done in order to ensure we all are being humane? आपको broad 5 से 6 dimensions मिले, वो क्या है? मुश्किल है ही नहीं, डीकंस्ट्रक्ट करो, आंसर वहीं मिल जाएगा. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस फॉर एवरीवन? ठीक है, कोशिश करेंगे, नहीं होगा तो फिर आई एम देयर. ठीक, यहां तक सबको क्लैरिटी आ रही है? ठीक, बोलो. हाँ, बिल्कुल. हाँ, दैट्स द रोल ऑफ सोशलाइजेशन. That's the role of socialization. Counter argument दे दो एक कि there can be one more perspective, but that would be just constituting 5% of your essay. That would not be the main theme. ठीक है? Is that clear? There is always the scope for counter argument, and that I'll show it to you how we are going to do that. यहाँ तक clarity आ रही है? मल्टी डायमेंशनैलिटी बनाने के लिए कुछ बहुत सिंपल तरीके हैं. ये is valid in other essays as well. Sectional approach, GS पेपर 1, 2, 3, 4 और इसी क्रोनोलॉजी में चलते हैं। GS पेपर 1 का क्या मतलब हुआ? हिस्टोरिकल, सोशल। GS पेपर 2 का पॉलिटिकल, इंटरनेशनल। GS पेपर 3 इकोनॉमिक, एनवायरमेंटल। GS पेपर 4 एथिकल। इसी क्रोनोलॉजी में आप डिवाइड कर सकते हो ऐसे इसको। दैट्स वन वे ऑफ डूइंग इट। सेकेंड वे ऑफ डूइंग इट इज temporal dimension. When we are talking about temporal dimension, ancient, medieval, modern, post-independence, post-LPG and contemporary. ये भी बड़ा काम आता है एग्जाम्पल्स को कोट करने के लिए। अगर आपको इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे सपोज करो एग्जाम्पल्स देने हैं, यू कैन एक्चुअली स्टार्ट द एग्जाम्पल इन अ क्रोनोलॉजी। एग्जामिनर को समझ आ जाता है आप क्रोनोलॉजी, आपको लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है ड्यूरिंग एंशियंट टाइम्स, ड्यूरिंग मिडिएवल टाइम, वो खुद एग्जाम्पल्स देख के समझ जाएगा। बट वेन एवर यू आर राइटिंग एग्जाम्पल इन अ टेम्पोरल डायमेंशन, प्लीज इंश्योर यू आर फॉलोइंग द क्रोनोलॉजी, ancient, medieval, modern, post-independence, post-LPG and then contemporary. It is also very good. One disclaimer here. Students ask, can we write essay from historical perspective? मतलब historical evolution or background? Absolutely yes. At max 1.5 pages. क्योंकि जब हम हिस्ट्री लिखने बैठते हैं तो फिर 3-4 पन्नों तक हम एवोल्यूशन ही डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, मेन मुद्दे पे आए ही नहीं. So that becomes very boring. And the examiner thinks that you have not understood the demand of the topic. So even if you have to write the historical evolution and perspective, at max 1.5 to 2 pages, not beyond that. Is that very clear for everyone? यहाँ तक सबको clear हो रहा है? Next. Multi-dimensionality introduce करने का एक सबसे simple तरीका, ये मैं GS में भी सिखाती हूँ, it has always worked. And I'll show you topper scripts as well. Individual, societal, national, international. आपको एग्जाम्पल्स देने हैं, आप इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे दो, सोसाइटल लेवल पे दो, नेशनल लेवल पे दो, इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे दो और इसी क्रोनोलॉजी में दो. इट शोज द फ्लो इन योर एसे. और मैं ये क्यों बताती हूं कि इस तरह से करो कि द मोमेंट यू आर डूइंग ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग, while thinking about the example, think like this. अच्छा, social, political, economic क्या लिखना है? Think about it, individual, societal, national and international. Automatically thought process एक direction में channelize हो जाता है. You save on time when you know the broad headings under which you are going to write your examples. Is this very clear for everyone? ठीक? Next, this is a very valid, especially in philosophical essay, institutional approach. You want to give examples at family level, religion, marriage, caste, education, media, parliament, judiciary, defense, whichever it is. Institutional approach. Character of an institution is shaped by its leadership. We can write the entire essay from the institutional perspective. This is how it is done. Socialization पे कोई essay आ जाए, institutional perspective, family, education, religion, workplace, media. So the point here is one of the very applicable approach is also institutional approach. Is it making sense? ठीक है. जब तक issue based topics आते थे, तब तक there was this one approach which always worked, and it can work even today also. Doubling the farmer's income, prospect, issues and challenges. Cashless economy, prospects, issues and challenges. Artificial intelligence, prospects, issues and challenges. Globalization, social media or climate resilient technology, prospects, issues and challenges. It works. If not ethics में अगर issue based आता है, essay writing में आप इसको GS में भी use कर सकते हो. It will not disappoint. Are the dimensions making sense? समझ आ रहा है मल्टी डायमेंशनैलिटी कैसे इंट्रोड्यूस की जा सकती है? ट्रस्ट मी, essay writing is not that difficult. Can we proceed to the conclusion part? See, as far as conclusion is concerned, just read it once. There are few points, do's and don'ts. First and foremost, don't summarize, because it is not adding any value to your essay. So why do anything which is not adding any value? Don't be apologetic in tone. Conclusion may, it should always be optimistic, futuristic, visionary. You should never cut a sorry figure while writing the conclusion. Enough things have been done in the body. So conclusion should always, you are going to be an administrator. You have to have solutions at your disposal. Next, don't start a fresh argument. Conclusion is meant to give a sense of closure to your essay. If you leave any thread open-ended, it kind of creates confusion in the mind of the examiner. Let's not take that risk. Next, don't write your conclusion in 1 or 2 lines. मैं सिखाती हूँ कैसे करना है, क्योंकि जब 1-2 लाइन में लिखते हैं ना तो ऐसा लगता है कि सारा कंटेंट खत्म हो गया. We are not left with anything to be written. Conclusion should be written at least in 1 and 1.5 pages. I'll tell you how. So क्या करें? We'll divide the conclusion in 2 parts. Let me show it to you. And mostly it works for everyone. I'll divide my conclusion in 2 parts. One would be penultimate and other would be ultimate. Penultimate, if issue-based topic, means way forward. If it is a philosophical topic, it means prescription. And ultimate in simple words means overall inference. समरी और इन्फरेंस में फर्क होता है. समराइज नहीं करना है, ओवरऑल इन्फरेंस ड्रॉ करना है कि जितना लिखा अल्टीमेटली व्हाट इज माय फाइनल ऑब्जर्वेशन, एंड ऑलवेज ट्राई टू एंड इट विथ सम पंच लाइन. कोई अच्छी सी कोट, कोई अच्छी सी पोयम, कोई अच्छा सा स्टेटमेंट, सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास, ये जितने भी होते हैं पंच लाइन्स, कुछ ऐसा. सो ट्राई, कोई श्लोक, जो भी दोहा, कुछ भी जो आपको इजीली याद रहता हो, क्योंकि एनीवे यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग दैट फॉर एथिक्स, राइट. सो ट्राई टू आंसर इट और एंड इट, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली जितना इंट्रोडक्शन इंपॉर्टेंट है उससे कई ज्यादा मेरे हिसाब से कंक्लूजन इंपॉर्टेंट है. कभी कभी मैं स्टूडेंट्स के ऐसे पढ़ती हूँ, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा होता है, मन भी कर रहा होता है इसको मार्क्स तो अब देना ही है, लेकिन लास्ट में मुझे लगता है अरे ऐसे ही खत्म कर दिया, और मेरा मूड ही ऐसा हो जाता है, अरे यार इतना अच्छा ऐसे लिखा था, एक कोई अच्छी सी लाइन लिख देते, वहीं 60-65 नंबर दे देते. बट वो जो नंबर थोड़े कम होते हैं ना, क्योंकि एक्सपेक्टेशन तुम लोगों ने इतनी बढ़ा दी अच्छा लिखकर, तो एंड नोट भी तो अच्छा करो. जैसे कभी कभी होता है ना, मूवी फर्स्ट हाफ में ठीक थी, सेकेंड हाफ में टिक नहीं पाई, क्लाइमेक्स उतना अच्छा नहीं था, वही तो मेन रीजन है. उसी के बाद तो मार्क्स मिलेंगे. दिस इज द लास्टिंग इंप्रेशन, यू कैन नॉट फॉल्टर ऑन दिस. इज दैट वेरी क्लियर? और ये सब पहले से तैयार होते हैं. वही 7-8 वैल्यूज हैं जिन पे क्वेश्चन बनेगा फिलोसॉफिकल, उसी पे तैयार करके पहले से रख लो, चाहे कोटेशंस हो, पोएम्स हो, दोहे हो, वहीं चिपका के, सॉरी, वही लिख कर आ जाना. सो डिड यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से? इज दिस वेरी क्लियर फॉर एवरीवन? ठीक है, हाँ जी. एक लाइन में लिख दो, वो एक्सप्लेनेशन नहीं होता है, वो जैसे कहते हैं ना ट्रांसलेशन होता है, बस वो एक लाइन में ब्रैकेट में बना के लिख दो. इज दैट वेरी क्लियर फॉर एवरीवन? ठीक. प्रिस्क्रिप्शन और वे फॉरवर्ड वाला पॉइंट समझ आता है? ठीक है. बस एक चीज का याद रखेंगे, जब भी आप प्रिस्क्रिप्शन कर रहे हो, फिलोसॉफिकल टॉपिक है तो सोशलाइजेशन, इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस, नहीं तो आप चाहो तो स्टेक होल्डर अप्रोच अडॉप्ट कर सकते हो. स्टेक होल्डर अप्रोच से मेरा मतलब है व्हाट शुड बी द वे फॉरवर्ड एट इंडिविजुअल लेवल, what should be the way forward at societal level, what should be the way forward at governmental level, what should be the way forward, let us say, at civil society or NGO level. करते ना एथिक्स में स्टेक होल्डर अप्रोच, वैसे ही स्टेक होल्डर अप्रोच से लिख दो. कुछ नहीं समझ आ रहा हो, वे फॉरवर्ड, फिर क्या करें? फर्स्टली, सेकेंडली, थर्डली. जब कुछ नहीं समझ आ रहा होता है, टाइम नहीं होता है, तो फर्स्टली, सेकेंडली, थर्डली कर लो, पर कुछ तो करके आओ. मतलब कहने का मतलब ये है. इज दिस वेरी क्लियर फॉर एवरीवन? इज कंक्लूजन मेकिंग सेंस फॉर एवरीवन? यहां तक कोई और डाउट? आगे बढ़ सकते हैं, टॉपर्स की स्क्रिप्ट देख सकते हैं। इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस, प्रिस्क्रिप्शन, सोशलाइजेशन, जैसे कि wisdom finds truth. That's the essay. I have established that yes, wisdom finds truth. Now my prescription is how to inculcate wisdom among the people. How can it be done? By making them emotionally intelligent. For example, according to Daniel Goleman, there are 5 building blocks of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, regulation, motivation, empathy, social skill. बात खत्म। बिल्कुल क्लियर है? एथिक्स यूज करो, सब पढ़ रहे हो, कुछ भी नया नहीं है। हाँ, apologetic tone मतलब we will not continue with the criticism any further. If we have highlighted any problem in the body, we will not continue. It has to be broken there. Now we will be providing solutions to those problems. That is what it means. हाँ जी, हाँ हाँ, और बस 10-15 मिनट, ओपन सेशन है यार। हाँ, कांट रीड द टॉपिक। अच्छा, मोर देन दिस देयर इज वन इंटरेस्टिंग, दिस पर्सन Gautam, he has secured 149, but before this topic I want to discuss this topic. I really liked it. Beautiful handwriting. ठीक है, so yeah, read the topic. Action without thought is empty. Thought without action is blind. Before we proceed, read the topic twice, thrice, till the time you don't understand. I'll again reiterate, this is the script of rank 211, Gautam, who has secured highest this year in essay 149. पढ़ा सबने? Action without thought is empty. होता है ना, many a times we act without even giving it a thought. On the other hand, thought without action is blind. You are just having the thought, I want to become an IAS officer, without practicing essay writing. So, thought without action is blind. Is that clear? See, let's start. As a kid, I used to love traveling long distance via train. This was so because every travel meant a new book for me to read. On one such occasion, my dad got me a Tinkle comic. This comic book is well known for its character named Supandi. In that particular edition, he was preparing for swimming competition. Rather than going to the swimming pool, he decided to train in the well, kuan, without giving a thought. The outcome was hilarious because on the final day of the competition, rather than swimming straight, he started swimming in circles, as he was accustomed to training in the well. ठीक है, तो नॉलेज आपको 1 साल की पढ़ाई से नहीं मिलती है। बचपन में जो देखा था, तो चाचा चौधरी और साबू भी कभी काम आ जाए तो पता नहीं। सो बट डिड यू अंडरस्टैंड द पॉइंट हियर? अनदर वेल नोन कैरेक्टर इज दैट ऑफ शेख चिल्ली. ही इज एवर नोन फॉर इज खयाली पुलाव. In one way, he is completely opposite to Supandi, for he has innumerable thoughts but zero action. पहला पार्ट ऑफ द इंट्रोडक्शन खत्म हुआ, इसमें पैराडॉक्स दिखा, दोनों पार्ट ऑफ द टॉपिक. इज इट रेलिवेंट एनेक्डोट? मेकिंग सेंस? अब आते हैं सेकेंड पार्ट पे. These two examples highlight that action without thought is empty and thought without action is blind. अब समझ आया what is second part? अब तीसरा पार्ट होता है, या तो सब बता दो एग्जामिनर को एक ही जगह, नहीं तो धीरे 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 कहानी अनफोल्ड करो. चॉइस इज योर्स. तो देखते. However, before dwelling deep on this, it is imperative to understand that meaning of thought and action and their relationship. थर्ड पार्ट आ गया. यही तो बता रहे हैं कि बिफोर फर्दर ड्वेलिंग आई एम गोइंग टू टेल यू व्हाट इज थॉट, एक्शन एंड देयर रिलेशनशिप. इन सिंपल वर्ड्स, यहां से बॉडी स्टार्ट होती है, एंड हाउ यू स्टार्ट द बॉडी? बाय डीकंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ द टॉपिक. यही बात करी है अभी. इन सिंपल वर्ड्स, थॉट इज नथिंग बट प्योरेस्ट फॉर्म. यहां पे अब डिपेंड करता है कि आपका क्या डीकंस्ट्रक्शन है. सो व्हाट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ थॉट एक ऐसे पूरा ले लेते हैं, अच्छा रहेगा, आपको भी आइडिया है. इन सिंपल वर्ड्स, थॉट इज नथिंग बट प्योरेस्ट फॉर्म एन आइडिया और एन एक्सप्रेशन. The reason why it is purest is because it is not corrupted or limited by any media. Similarly, thought ye hai, then what is action? So action is a process of performing a task. It involves some physical movement. It is generally believed that thought should precede the action. Pehle socho aur fir karo. At least this is the ideal situation. However, thoughts and action are not always complementary and supplementary. In fact, sometimes it may so happen that there might not be any relation between thought and action. और यही टॉपिक है. अब उसने दो टॉपिक्स थे, टॉपिक के दो पार्ट्स थे, एक्शन विदाउट थॉट एंड थॉट विदाउट एक्शन. दो पार्ट्स में बॉडी को डिवाइड किया. पहला था एक्शन विदाउट थॉट, कि व्हाई समटाइम्स वी परफॉर्म एन एक्शन विदाउट थॉट. So the person says that sometimes it happens because some actions are spontaneous or instantaneous. So you did not get the time to contemplate that whether that action should be performed or not. For example, reflex action. एक ने मारा, दूसरे ने पलट के मार दिया. उस वक्त 2 मिनट सोचा नहीं कि नहीं मारना चाहिए था. Did you get the point? ठीक है. Example, road rage, gang war, accidents. This is how it happens. Sometimes when you perform an action without a thought is because you are already having some preconceived notions. You passed a judgment on someone else without even thinking about it. Why? Based on your previous stereotypes or notions. ये सब कहाँ पढ़ा है हमने? Ethics में. Use करो. फिर we can go on and on. Sometimes it may happen because a person have a मतलब tendency of behaving harshly on the basis of whims and fancies. For example, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and the person has given the example. That is shifting overnight the capital from Delhi. यहाँ पे क्या use हो रहा है आपका? Knowledge of history. Example आया ना? Argument आपको कहाँ से मिला? Ethics से. Example आपको कहाँ से मिल रहे हैं? GS paper 1, 2 and 3 से. Then thought without action. ये क्यों होता है? अब इस बंदे ने क्या किया? थॉट विदाउट एक्शन के एग्जाम्पल्स लेने थे, कहां से उठाए? इंडिविजुअल लेवल, सोसाइटल लेवल, नेशनल लेवल. अभी देख लेते हैं. थॉट विदाउट एक्शन एट इंडिविजुअल लेवल, कि यू आर ओनली थिंकिंग बट नॉट परफॉर्मिंग एनी एक्शन, क्योंकि लेजी एटीट्यूड है, चलता है एटीट्यूड. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, ये एग्जाम्पल हमने एथिक्स की क्लास में दिया है. न्यू ईयर रेजोल्यूशन उनका होना ही सिर्फ इसलिए है क्योंकि उनको कभी पूरा नहीं होना. सो दैट इज द थॉट विदाउट एक्शन, राइट? Similarly, at societal level, ये remember we discuss empathy and compassion में क्या फर्क होता है? Empathy, you are placing yourself and understanding the problem. Compassion is you are trying to solve the problem. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? We are empathizing with others, but we don't have compassion. कौन मेहनत करे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने के लिए? हम लोग नहीं बोलते बेचारा गलत हो गया. अगर पता है गलत हुआ है तो हेल्प करो ना, बट उसके लिए क्या जरूरत है? There is a need of compassion, which is missing. From where are you getting the content? Ethics. Example क्या दिया? Cleanliness. Everybody want their surrounding to be clean. Nobody wants to participate in Swachh Bharat Abhiyan drives. You have a thought, but you don't have the action ability. That is the problem. Is that very clear? I would have added one more dimension here, tendency to procrastinate. कल करेंगे, कल से पक्का ऐसे राइटिंग मन में आ भी रहा होगा कि बस अब घर जाके. So the point, did you understand? Then you have national and international level. What I'm just trying to say is don't look only at the content, just look at the structure. अब इंटरनेशनल लेवल है, यूक्रेन रशिया कॉन्फ्लिक्ट की बात हो गई है, ठीक है. देन क्लाइमेट एस्पेक्ट की बात हो गई. सो फाइनली what needs to be done? Walk the talk, matlab reconciliation. You think before action, but once you think, you also need to perform the action. And then the person said how this needs to be done. Firstly, in order to ensure that both thought and action is there, you have to have the qualities. क्या quality चाहिए? You need to have patience. Patience नहीं होगा तो immediately you will react without even thinking. तो पेशेंस के लिए एग्जाम्पल कहां से आया? गौतम बुद्ध. ही ऑलवेज टॉक्स अबाउट हैविंग पेशेंस इन लाइफ. Then probity and integrity. No matter, maybe somebody is trying to lure you for the act of corruption, but if you have probity and integrity, you will never perform the act of corruption. You will first think performing the corrupt act. कहाँ से मिला ये हमको? Ethics. Next is developing compassion. If you are compassionate, you will always perform the desirable actions. लेकिन अब हम इसमें एक काउंटर आर्ग्यूमेंट ऐड करेंगे that although it is being said that it is a simple reconciliation, but it is not always true. Suppose you have a thought, you are performing the action also, but the thought is negative. Are you getting the point? ठीक है. For example, terrorism, that can be very disastrous. So thought आया, you perform the action, but that time your thought was negative. So that action became all the more disastrous. On the other hand, you have a very good thought and you thought of acting on that thought also, but your action was not constructive. Example given, Robin Hood. कुछ याद आ रहा है ethics की class? Is this very clear for everyone? ठीक? तो एक हमने counter argument दे दिया. Finally, the ultimate conclusion is, therefore it is imperative to have both good thoughts and choose the right action. This is my inference. I'm not summarizing. This is my overall observation. One must recall the words of Swami Vivekananda while forming a thought. Moreover, for actions, Gandhiji's talisman is a perfect guiding light. मिल गया आपको ultimate conclusion? Is the structure visible? Is introduction part 1, part 2, part 3 visible? Are the multidimensionality in the body visible? The broad breakup of the body visible? First part of the topic, second part of the topic, and finally what needs to be done. Conclusion के दो parts दिख रहे हैं, prescription and overall inference. अभी हमने prescription की बात करी थी, जहां हमने बात करी थी patience, probity and integrity, compassion. What was that? It was a prescription. And finally, this is the overall conclusion, which is nothing but your inference. And that's the final punchline. कहीं पे भी टॉपिक थीम से डाइग्रेस किया नहीं? Are you understanding? This is what is being given marks according to UPSC. Is it clear for everyone? हाँ. नहीं, not. Everyone knows. Everyone knows. That is the thing. एक रैंक 1 की स्क्रिप्ट देख ले. Read the topic. Best is the enemy of good. Score is 137 this time in essay. In the 6th century BC, Siddhartha Gautam left the comfort of his home to find the meaning of life. He sat under the Bodhi tree, where he finally attained enlightenment after years of wandering in reach of the truth. In his sermons, he preached the Madhyam Marg, or the middle path, thereby avoiding the extremes of best and worst. His eightfold path prescribes good conduct, right knowledge, etc. Buddhism is a widely followed religion even today, with its ideas of avoiding austerity or greed, thereby maintaining the balance while walking on the tightrope known as life. Is the first part over here? Second part of the introduction. Thus Buddha helped us see how best can be the enemy of good. अगर second part एक ही line है पर नहीं लिखेंगे तो relevance of first would be defeated. Standard तरीका होता है, ठीक है? Then third part of the introduction. In this essay we will further analyze how striving to be the best can sometimes backfire, how in the long term there is always equilibrium, and how a balanced approach can bring us more rewards than pursuing the extremes. Is that clear for everyone? And then the body starts. So overall what I'm saying is that, and why did I stop here? उसका reason है, बॉडी आपके इंटरप्रिटेशन पे डिपेंड करती है, ठीक है? लेकिन एक जो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है फिलोसॉफिकल एसे राइटिंग का, दैट इज टू स्टार्ट दी एसे. वो तभी आ जाएगा जब एक बार आपने अच्छा इंट्रोडक्शन लिख लिया. So for all those who are writing the essay for the very first time, philosophical essay, I would advise you not to write 1000 or 1200 words in first go. Try to write the introduction first. And then once you get the hang of writing the introduction, then we are going to proceed with the body and the conclusion part. Is this very clear for everyone? Let me give you just the overall, how the structure of that would be the final thing from my side. Let me just give you the overall structure, that how the essay looks like. If this is my complete essay, this is introduction, part 1, part 2, part 3. It should be approximately 150 to 200 words. Post this, we have a body where we are talking about explanation plus examples through multi-dimensions. We'll try to write at least 7-8 paras here. It can be more than that also, depending, because overall 700 to 800 words. So on an average you can go up till 10 paras also. Then we have conclusion, the first part, and this is the small conclusion. So this is penultimate and this is your ultimate conclusion. Overall 100 to 150 words. This is how a general essay should look like. And while writing the body, one argument in one para, second, third, you can keep on going with different paras. Is this clear? I think मैंने ethics की क्लास में बोला है, यहाँ मैं एक छोटा सा चीज reiterate कर देती हूँ. जब हम body लिखते हैं ना, advisable तरीका होता है, you give the argument, you give the example. That's the standard thing. You can give more than one example, 1 or 2 examples, but not beyond that. So for one argument, there should be max 1 or 2 examples. नहीं तो फिर वही लगता है एक ही बात को बार बार आप repeat कर रहे हो. That should not be the case. That's the advisable thing. कुछ लोग ऐसे भी करते हैं कि एक argument दे दिया और उसके बाद फिर 2-3 examples दे दिए. वो ना थोड़ा monotonous लगने लगता है. Let's not do that. Is this very clear? One argument, give example, then another argument, give example, and so on, proceed with it. There has to be a balance of argument and examples. Is that very clear for everyone? See? Now go back and see what doubts did you write in the beginning of the lecture. Is everything answered or there is still something which is remaining? कुछ भी ऐसा जो रह गया हो? हाँ जी. Writing previous year questions. See, the topic may not get repeated, but theme is repeated. What I mean by theme is, for example, socialization, for example, integrity, for example, compassion, for example, wisdom. जो underlying essence होता है ना, that may get repeated. So that is a decent advice. You can practice previous year questions. नहीं, अभी तो philosophical essays. That's more like a trend. In fact, what you can do, there was a time when one section was philosophical and one section was issue based. From there you can start practicing previous year. Not 2013 onwards. No, it would be too early. 2018 onwards. 5-year practice kar lo. That would be more than enough. Okay. Any other question that you want to ask? Hanji. Come again. Ha. Absolutely. If you know, then follow that. But ultimately, when it comes down to UPSC, what matters is the content, example, expression, and context. No. That's not required. See, for grammatical errors, one thing is for sure, many of us who has even taken English as a medium of examination are not very adept as English speaking or grammatical rules. So something which is not so obvious can still be given way to, but not too obvious mistakes. I didn't went. दैट इज क्वाइट ऑब्वियस मिस्टेक, दैट शुड नॉट बी द केस, बस उतना है, ठीक है। एनीथिंग एल्स? हाँ 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 हाँ, नहीं ऐसा नहीं होता। This multi-dimensionality, socio-political, economic, is not meant only for the argument or examples. It is also helping you enable to think that किस direction में इस essay को सोचा जा सकता है. In fact, if you have realized, the broad deconstruction of the topic is different. We are using socio-political, economic only to explain that broad argument which we have chosen. ठीक है ना? और सोशो पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमिक अगर एक ऐसे में लिख रहे हो तो दूसरे में मत लिखो, ये पीस ऑफ एडवाइस होती है, नहीं तो लगता है कि एक स्टैंडर्ड चीज प्रिपेयर करके आए थे। और ये सारी चीजें वहां पे जाके डिपेंड करती है कि नेचर ऑफ द टॉपिक क्या था। जैसे एक छोटी सी बात है, वो नहीं था पोएट्स आर अनएक्नॉलेज्ड लेजिस्लेटर्स, ठीक है। अब हम बोलते हैं कि सोशो पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमिक नहीं लिखेंगे, लेकिन डोंट यू थिंक कि इस लेवल पे ये ऐसे को आंसर करना ठीक हो जाएगा? सोशल लेजिस्लेशंस में कोई पोएट, पॉलिटिकल एस्पेक्ट में कोई पोएट, ठीक है। आर यू गेटिंग व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से? दिस इज हाउ इट वर्क्स। इन्वायरमेंटल डोमेन में अगर किसी पोएट ने कुछ बोला है, सो इट मेक्स आवर वर्क इजी, वी आर एबल टू चैनलाइज आवर थॉट प्रोसेस इन द राइट डायरेक्शन, दैट इज व्हाट इट मीन्स, ठीक है। हाँ बताओ। हाँ 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 हाँ, बिल्कुल 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 बिल्कुल। हाँ नहीं यार, बहुत ज्यादा भी नहीं होना चाहिए, बिकॉज फिर क्या होता है कि टू इस्टैब्लिश द रेलिवेंस बिकम्स अ चैलेंज। बट बहुत कॉमन भी नहीं लिखना चाहिए, जैसे विथ ऑल ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट, देर आर फ्यू एग्जाम्पल्स विच हैव बिकम वेरी कॉमन, सो लेट्स नॉट स्टिक टू दोज एग्जाम्पल्स, जस्ट ट्राई टू थिंक अबाउट अदर। जैसे अगर मैं छोटी सी बात बोलती हूँ, अगर कोई ऑनेस्टी इंटेग्रिटी की बात करता है, सब कोई अशोक खेमका जी की बात लिखने लग जाते हैं। देर आर अदर एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑफिसर्स ऑल्सो हु हैव बीन वेरी ऑनेस्ट एंड हैव इंटेग्रिटी। लेट्स ट्राई टू थिंक whenever we have to give any suggestion, with all due respect, we are quoting Mahatma Gandhi there. There can be other leaders who can also be quoted. So all I'm just trying to say is not too obvious examples. Try to explore, try to diversify the ambit of your examples, which anyway you have to do for your ethics paper. और लोग पूछते कहाँ मिलेगा? अरे गूगल तो करो। Examples of IAS officers with respect to good governance in India. There would be list of examples. Choose your 2 examples. List of honest IAS officers or IPS officers in context of India. You will again get the list from Google. Or for example, takeaways from Bhagavad Gita. भगवद गीता को कोट करने के लिए ये थोड़ी ना है कि अब आप, क्योंकि ये एग्जाम है, आप अलग से कभी भी पढ़ लो जब आपका मन करे, बट अभी अगर एग्जाम के लिए आपको पढ़ना है तो गूगल पे बहुत सारी ऐसे आ जाते हैं, टीचिंग्स ऑफ भगवद गीता, आप वहां से पॉइंट्स निकालो, एग्जाम्पल्स उठाओ। तो दिस इज हाउ यू हैव टू प्रिपेयर द फॉर्डर, बट दिस इज समथिंग विच यू हैव टू डू। आप ये नहीं बोल सकते मैम कहीं कोई बुक मिल जाएगी जिसमें ये सब दे रखा है, बिल्कुल दे भी रखा होगा, पर क्या वो आपके लिए सफिशिएंट होगा, कोई गारंटी नहीं है। मे बी, क्योंकि उसका रीजन बताती हूं, जब हम खुद से तैयारी करते हैं ना, वी टेंड टू रिमेंबर थिंग्स। जब हम किसी और की तैयारी को यूज करते हैं ना, तो वो पता चल जाता है कि दैट इज नॉट ओन्ड बाय अस, लेट्स नॉट डू दैट। And finally, I would just try to say one thing, no matter how much I tell this, my open sessions are available on every platform now, on every Telegram channel. The strategy has been made evident to everyone, not everyone scored marks. Because बताने वालों से फर्क नहीं पड़ता, जिनको लिखना है वो लिख पा रहे हैं कि नहीं, उस बात से फर्क पड़ता है। सो इफ यू थिंक दैट द सेशन इज एंड ऑफ essay writing, this was just the beginning. Now you are going to start with your essay writing. So final takeaway, stop fearing this paper. Honestly asking, when you saw the scripts, do you think that you can write? At least some level of confidence that you can write? And trust me, you can write. जैसे वो एक कहते हैं ना कि मंजिल मिलेगी भटक कर ही सही, गुमराह तो वो हैं जो घर से निकले भी नहीं। नहीं मेरा मतलब ये है, लिखना तो शुरू करो। जैसे बहुत ऑनेस्ट डाउट आता है मेरे पास, मैम ऐसे नहीं लिख पा रहे, मैंने कहा कभी कुछ लिखा? कहते नहीं लिखा तो नहीं। तो कैसे पता कि नहीं लिख पा रहे हो? लिखो तो। और ये मैं गारंटी के साथ कहती हूं, जब लिखोगे ना, लिखकर खुद बोलोगे इतना बुरा नहीं लिखा जितना सोचा था। Is that very clear? So on this note, I conclude the session. I hope it has added some value to your preparation. But the final thing is you have to start writing. Okay? Chalo. All the best, people.